3, 2, 1. Welcome to episode 71 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Enter the warring state of Togo. My name is William Fizzpatrick, and hello, folks! It's been over 2 months. Yes, the chaos of the summer has officially ended, and my voice came back to me after having a brief issue with it in September, after all the chaos I had to endure over the summer. For those of you unaware, I had to deal with a lot of chaos. From my hospital visit in July due to my second vaccination from the Rybakin-19 vaccine, to everything else in between. Yard work, a roofing project, a side porch roofing project. Yes, I had a very, very busy summer. So the Summer of Wacky got basically delayed because of that. So we're now into October now. It's the spooky Halloween season, and nothing is more horrifying than obviously going back to the land of the rising sun and having to endure the chaos of what the literal heck is going on over there. But between the free warring states of wrestling, as we are going to discuss in today's episode. If the title card didn't give you any indication as to which promotion we will be talking about today, and yes, I said we, because as I announced back in August, after I was completing all of my roofing projects and stuff like that, I have acquired the services of a semi-permanent co-host. And joining me again to rant and rave about NJPW, and of course Sumo, is MDS. Hello, say hi, MDS.
Mr. Dr. Senju. Good evening. Yeah. So that being said, yes, I am a semi-permanent co-host, cohort, or basically rant machine on a soapbox somehow on one point or another. But still, yeah, I am here, and it has been a lengthy time since I stayed away from mostly all these services before until, well, I feel like I'm ready enough to take on the challenge. And well, ain't we have a really, really good thing, a really, really great set of topics and issues to talk about to sink our teeth in once we come back.
Oh, yes. Apparently, while I was busy with everything over the last several months, pro wrestling decided to unleash every single kind of chaos news story and everything else under the sun, because I had to now separate that into different episodes. So, we're probably not going to be talking about things like AEW, although we'll probably mention some things here and there, and we're probably not going to go into depth about WWE or, heaven forbid, what St. Nicholas Khan just did to NXT.
Oh no.
Oh, that's going in its own episode right there. He did the impossible.
He did. A lot
He
of people.
literally burned the field of the shovel dreams.
I
So,
mean,
yes.
I'm not going to cut the bread a little bit too early on this one, but still, yeah.
Mhm.
We all saw it coming.
Oh, yes. Yes, I was the raving lunatic. I was mad. I was insane. I was wearing the tinfoil colander hat, proclaiming that the end was nigh for NXT, but no, I was being a contrarian. Vizzy doesn't like Triple H, so he's obviously going to be, complaining about him constantly, not thinking that the end would actually come. But as we're going to discuss in the future episode, yes, it did actually come. The end, the rapture is coming in the form and the name of Braun Breaker.
Hmm. Yep. Can't say much about that, but
Yeah,
still.
yes. So yes, the ambulance sirens that you're hearing and the hollering, if you hear him, is certainly going to be waiting for a later time period because as much as Braun Breaker is a destroyer of worlds, he has nothing of the breaker of souls that is, at this point, let's see, of the free warring states, which one should we talk about first?
Well, you did actually just kind of lead into it. Let's just talk about NJPW then.
Yep.
Then we can lead into sumo.
Yes, yes. Obviously, Sumo is going to be talked about on this edition of the show as well. Unfortunately for the true eater of worlds, he'll have to wait a little bit. Eat a pagoda, maybe devour the Tokyo Dome, but we'll get to Sumo in a little bit here. But first, Gendo, what in the heck are you doing? Seriously? Last time we talked about you and your merry band of misfits, New Japan Pro Wrestling was spiraling into the terror of Gaijin mania, brother! Where every
Yep,
single champion of theirs was a Gaijin. Without fail,
it's very true.
except for the trios titles, which apparently the Gaijins don't want to touch, but Chaos, the near infinite stable that has been around since what, 2013, 2012?
There and thereabouts, I'd say. I dare say even earlier, 2011, I guess. Late 2011, early 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
They're the trios champions.
Hmm.
And so when the G1 was announced, it was announced with little fanfare, obviously because of the pandemic. They couldn't bring in some
Yeah.
foreign wrestlers, wrestlers from New Japan Strong, as Kazuyori Shibata laughs on top of the Golden Gate Bridge and basically gets his own version of Big Mouth Loud without having to worry about what kind of chaos Gendo is doing.
Yep. That's very true.
I mean, because he basically NJPW Strong has like a very limited connection to New Japan at the moment because of the pandemic. So basically now all of the grandpa wrestlers are going over to the states to have matches over there, as well as young lions and guys who are going over for foreign excursion, as well as
Mhm.
American wrestlers that they're thinking of bringing in. Because if there is one thing that will never die, is, well, of course, well, and because unlike Hulkamania, Gaijin Mania will live forever, brother.
Yes, because it's not really a prevalent issue, but it's not really a prevalent point, but it's still heavily implied basically that, well, us Japanese are extremely attracted to, well, gaijin. And yes, it's still there and thereabouts, especially in sports basically. Not just your typical Caucasians, but any kind of, what was it again? Any kind of foreign sports personality, be it in baseball, soccer, sumo, even if you want to go there, or even wrestling for that matter too. There's a reason why guys like Bob Sapp and Yokozuna or Bob Sapp, Hacksaw Jim Duggan is still kind of like being treated as, well, legends around here. So yeah.
Also Stan Hansen, but of course
Oh yeah, of course. No,
nobody's going to question the legend status of Stan Hansen. At least they get Larry and
nobody's
Ed,
gonna question
at
it.
least they get Larry and
And the
Ed
lariat.
out of their
It's
boots.
just, let's just correct it. It's not just a simple letter. It's just a lariato from somewhere.
Lariato.
Am I the only small rant? Am I the only one who's kind of like being miffed about any kind of Japanese commentators going like that? It's like, I know this is how Japanese TV media broadcasting are doing stuff like this, but come on, it's either one day going to be meme-fied into something that everybody's going to laugh at, or just only in our circle, only being understandable in our circle.
Okay, so
It's
to
simple.
recap the champions, we
Sure.
have non-gaijins for once. Shingo
Non-gaijins.
Takagi as the heavyweight champion.
Yep.
Hiroshi Tanahashi is the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion.
Yep.
Jay White is the never overweight champion. The strong
Hmm.
openweight champion is Filthy Tom Waller. The IWGP Tag Team Championship is Dangerous Techers. The Junior Heavyweight Championship is being held by Robbie Eagles. Suzuki Gun, El Desperado, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru are the Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. And Chaos is the never open weight six man tag team champions. And Kings of Pro Wrestling title is held by Toro Yano. Because of course it is.
Because of course it is.
Nobody is beating the Sublime Master Thief for that title.
Hmm. How the hell, in that case, how the hell did Chase Owens got beat in a no disqualification? I quit.
Because he is Chase Owens, and he is destined to suffer.
Okay, I guess so, but still,
Because Minoru left for
got
the
beat.
States on a Godzilla style rampage, so Yano needs a new victim, and why not the guy who looks like a clone of Adam Cole?
Okay, now that we tossed away from my brain, especially with Adam Cole in the free market nowadays. So why not take the actual Adam Cole rather than your 10 rather than your 100 yen 100 yen store.
rather,
Adam
rather,
Cole
rather
is
than your Lawson's convenience store special house brand.
Adam Cole, which we just rebranded to Chisowitz. So
Yes.
I mean, uh, this is the this is the reason why sometimes we can't take NJPW way too seriously, considering the fact that yes, we have these grandpas still holding titles. Especially the ones that we, especially the ones that we just bat in our eyelashes. Is like, so these guys have the never open weight 6-man tag team championship. Who are they again? Oh, okay.
It's Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi. Polite clap.
Uh, I'd wish to just flip these old tables over. Okay. We understand that you guys are veterans, long-time veterans. Uh, thank you so much for making my childhood and my youthful years into a really good brand of healthy dose of amount of wrestling. But you guys are too old. We'll do we'll do some promotional merchandising and whatnot, or maybe just shuffle you off into a little bit 2-bit parts in maybe tokusatsu shows or Super Sentai shows if you want that. I mean, Minoru Suzuki is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, has done it for one episode.
I mean, the thing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Minoru Suzuki was in a guest spot for the latest Kamen Rider series. Yes, I
Yep.
know. Yes, folks, I know what Kamen Rider actually is.
Yep. He is. He follows a long line of tradition of people slowly moving in from wrestling to TV shows, such with such luminaries as Hiroshi Tanahashi. Oh, and let's not forget. And while I am going slowly on a slow and light tirade of rants and whatnot, who in the hell had the great idea to call upon who was it again? Hiromu Takahashi to go and act? I mean, I don't know what character he's gonna play in a Super Sentai show, but from the looks of it, he's still gonna play the same old crazy character, I guess, with the tongue. Yeah.
Wait, Hiromu Takahashi, the guy who literally had a stuffed therapy cat be
Mhm.
torn to bits. That screaming sound you're currently hearing is coming from Michigan from my former co host, Sal Cusimano, by the way. But yeah, being reminded of that incident and the curse words of "fu phileo" are echoing through the land at this point on this cold, rainy day in October.
Mhm.
But yes, Hiromu Takahashi is apparently, and this is news to me, is now in some kind of what Super Sentai series as what the main villain.
Main villain. And again, it's a Kamen Rider show too. So yeah.
So Hiromu is the main villain in a Kamen Rider TV show.
Yes. You know what? You know what? I'll share with you the link. I'll post it to you. I'll send it to you right now. There you go. But yes, there is this kind of show, and yes, there's Hiromu Takahashi at one point in time. It's a movie, basically. I think.
Okay, so
If I
it's
remember.
a movie special, and they're having and hey, they have him, and they have him being a main villain in the series. I will definitely
Yes,
check that out later, after we're taking care after we're done with the show. But
yes,
like,
and look at that. That is that unmistakable grin.
mhm.
I mean, I get it.
Oh good.
Sometimes,
I was going to have trouble sleeping tonight. He just posted an image in the basic chat thread here and on the old Discord channel. Hiromu Takahashi grinning in a black suit with a giant pillar behind him. I'm expecting an army of Daryls to suddenly appear out of nowhere.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, yes, this is happening. It is always going to happen. And yep, it is like that.
Oh lordy, the yeah yeah this is. I mean, I do like the fact that New Japan is getting into other media outlets, obviously because they are owned by a literal trading card company,
The
owned
same
by a
company.
guy. Who's owned by a guy who is, as we've said before on past broadcasts, literal Seto Kaiba.
I mean, if the whole term Bushi Road isn't really the same thing, isn't really hitting it for you, then do your research. But simply put, Bushi Road is basically just a general entertainment company with fingers everywhere. And yes, the CEO is literal Satakaiba.
And literal Seto Kaiba decided to shake things up. Now, for years, people had been complaining, the hardcore Puretsu fans had been complaining about Gendo's booking, which is understandable. I've been a person who's been complaining about Gendo's booking for years, but that was because I thought that New Japan needed to do a rebuild in 2015 at their peak, because the idea of New Japan being in their peak was very concerning to me, because I thought it's good, but it needs a retool. It needs to have something shaken up about it every 2 to 3 years, and not in the typical way that wrestling promotions shake things up, but to really try to flesh out the roster a little bit more. Maybe trade some pieces over to All Japan, and well, they did try to trade pieces over to Noah. Mention the word Suzuki-gun in Noah to a pro wrestling Noah fan, and watch as you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, but still.
uh,
I mean, technically speaking, I understand what it's all about. Basically, it's just well, basic general marketing. You want to spread your brand to everywhere. But yeah, they're slowly beginning to become a conglomerate, and somehow that effect is slowly beginning to sink their teeth in NJPW. And I can see that. Or I can see the reason why people might be worried about it,
mhm.
considering
So,
extremely worried.
I mean,
But
because basically it was a situation where a lot of people were angry at the Menji restoration period because
mm,
of the fact that uh, Kenny Omega ended up leaving the company after he
mm,
had his hot run with the Bucks, Cody, and everybody else that was there. They form All Elite
mm,
Wrestling, AEW,
mm,
and suddenly New Japan is out a bunch of Gaijin stars that are legitimate draws, and they're having to literally come up with whatever table scraps that they can find to realize Gendo's vision, if you can call
mhm,
it that, of essentially being a perpetual motion clock where nothing really happens. Everything is like a real fluff piece. Oh, this person wins this championship? Oh, well, they'll have a title defense here, a title defense there, a title defense
mhm,
here, but they won't really go anywhere with it. They won't really do any kind of storylines with it. They basically
mhm.
become the CMLL of championship defenses.
Exactly. I mean, uh, it's not really that what was it prevalent in the West basically because you could because the market and the talent exchange that can happen there is far more reaching basically.
Mhm.
And over here in the Japanese market, basically the only same talent pool that you're gonna cycle, especially in this kind of situation, basically in the global pandemic and whatnot, is just well, basically the talent that you already have. And for the most part, that kind of monopoly, that kind of almost monopolization of talent of top talent, basically has been held it throughout the years by NJPW, basically. Okay. Sure, there's going to be some other young up and coming talent from outside of the NJPW pool, like DDT Pro, those kind of things, Dragon Gate, or any kind of random Japanese Puroresu independent wrestling promotions that you can dig up. But for the most part, the big stars are in NJPW, sort of kind of like what WWE is doing, but it's
Well,
a this one
well,
there is a little bit.
to compare from a Japanese perspective, New Japan Pro Wrestling in the 2010s to the early 2020s was basically flipped everything on its head. They went from
Mhm.
being the second or third best promotion to the top promotion after Noah spectacularly imploded. And
Oh yeah,
a lot of the mistakes that Noah did, New Japan is doing.
yep,
Uh,
correct.
an aging talent pool at the top, a mid card that is highly suspect at best, and, well, literally the floor is lava at worst. Young talent that are decent but aren't exactly in the right positions.
Hmm.
Talent that should be going off to the American promotions because, uh, quite frankly, flooding the market with 50 million Yoshitatsus is definitely a benefit for you because you get rid of a average performer and they end up getting stuck with 50 million Yoshitatsus.
Oh, of course, definitely.
I mean, basically,
So basically, go ahead. You first.
New Japan laughed to the bank in 2004. They went, "Oh, okay, Nakamura, you get fed to the Inoki pits.
Hmm.
Tatsu, Mr. Average, you go over to WWE." And then when Shinsuke has to, and when Shinsuke doesn't like the strong style anymore, he goes over to WWE and is having the time of his life.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say that he is having a time of his life
Mm,
because, well, he's just enjoying the surfs, basically, just relaxing all that much,
mm,
and well, getting a paycheck. Just
yeah.
very good this time of money. We're in this time of year, basically, and whatnot. So, not going to complain on that at all. But
Uh,
still, when that kind of glut happens over on NJPW, they're basically at that time their short term rescue plan was, well, they have over here in the Western territories, they have a lot of talents that we can actually pull over from the independent scene and put into our NJPW roster pool, and that they did.
hmm But
So hence they have those old school names like you said, Bob Sapp, Stan Hansen, whatnot, and then up to the modern era where they have, well, Prince Devitt, yeah, Prince Devitt, Tamatonga, Tangaloa, yeah, and the history writes itself. So.
mhm. But unfortunately for them, they really have missed the mark on their acquisitions, as far as foreign talent are concerned, or have put their foreign talent into situations where it is now incredibly difficult for them to get any kind of regular momentum because of where they are stuck at.
Hmm.
Cue
Correct.
Jeff Cobb screaming and catering, suddenly realizing that he's stuck in freaking United Empire.
Yep. Sorry, Jeff Cobb. We can't pull you away from the, well, craziness that is Impact, but again, Impact is not really doing that badly either. They're actually doing okay.
But yeah, it's like, Impact's doing okay, but at the same time, you have, oh, that's right, because New Japan and Impact are somehow back together and doing angles with one another.
Hmm. Let's be correct. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not complaining at all about the whole talent sharing pool between companies and whatnot. Even, especially if it involves companies that are basically, when you can't beat WWE, well, you find some other schemes, plans, and plots to kind of like be different from WWE, what WWE is offering. And congratulations, they are doing that now with the whole talent sharing between Impact and AEW, to a certain extent, NJPW in a way. Yeah.
I mean, the big thing that was holding everything back as far as the AEW challenge sharing deal was the fact that, Kenny had issues with Harold Menji, and it was a situation where, and it wasn't any kind of rumor, there was legitimate heat between the two of them.
Hmm.
But after Menji's resignation, um, you end up with a situation where it's at this point you have a solid roster, but it's also a roster that has so let me see here. Corporate. Okay, so basically you have Takami Obari as the president and
Mhm.
CEO of New Japan at this point, and he also is the CEO of New Japan Pro Wrestling of America.
Mhm.
Uh, so you have a situation where he is now Obari is now having to clean up the messes of the previous administrations, while also unleashing another mess upon NJPW at this point. Um, so when they decided to freshen up Bullet Club for the 1,778th time, they thought it would be a good idea to bring in another junior heavyweight all-star to fix things as far as the angles are concerned.
Mhm.
Um, because with Jado and Gendo, you have to deal with Jado and Gendo having their issues of occasionally getting injured in opening matches because of
Yep.
their age. And, well, they decided to go completely off the walls crazy and bring in a guy who, last I checked, was main promotion was Michinoku Pro. That would be Dick Togo.
Oh no. Yes, his last promotion is actually reaching up to yes.
Okay, so Dick Togo has always been regarded as well guarded as a very good junior heavyweight wrestler. He is regarded as a great in-ring wrestler, but the thing was is that he retired in 2015 due to cumulative injuries, and for the last couple of years have been bouncing around the independent scene, making the occasional comeback, making the occasional return match, doing matches in America, all stuff like that. New Japan, for some reason, decides that they want more than just 1998 frontier martial arts wrestling style crazy into their promotion. They want to inject a little poison known as the Great Sasuke style into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And if you don't know anything about the Great Sasuke, kids, look it up on YouTube. There are plenty of compilation vids about Great Sasuke, barrels, and some kind of high flying spot.
Mhm. Okay.
Because if you
I
can't
mean
get
the
the
guy.
because if you can't get Great Sasuke, you can go with Togo at least.
Yeah, technically speaking, you can't really get the great Sasuke. He's kind of hard to get, I guess, if you want to go.
He's so independent that he would not even remotely consider any kind of booking position in New Japan. So they had to go with the alternative because Jinsei
Yes.
Sasaki is too smart for this. uh,
Oh boy.
he's too smart for this. So it's going to be Togo. And Togo has brought in the disaster style of Michinoku Pro Wrestling into New Japan, and the results
Yep.
have been fascinatingly spectacular.
Well, you've already seen it now. Most of their big names have already lost the belts. Now some, well, I'm not saying that they're bad names. They're good names. It's just that, well, I can't trust Hiroshi Tanahashi holding the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship for quite a long time. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. What? Because what is it? Because it has this? It has a sign that says "reserved for evil" written all over
Yep.
it.
Hmm. That's another thing. That's another thing. They're gonna just gonna start hot potatoing titles from one person to another, one person to another. No way. I mean, kudos goes to Shingo Takagi or Tom Lawler basically for holding their belts for like what 100 plus days now. I guess if I remember correctly, there and thereabouts. But still, not many people were gonna go follow Shingo Takagi. Yes, this is my main man. This is the main guy who NJPW wants to promote. Wants to be the face of the NJPW marketing. Good luck.
122 days so far and counting for Takagi's World Heavyweight Championship run, and 167 days for the Strong Openweight Champion.
Mm, good luck. I'd rather have Okada back, please, and thank you. no matter how good a lot of people say Shingo Takagi is, he's kind of like a stop. And let's be real, he's kind of like a stopgap for something that's basically plastered within. It's just okay. We have really big problems behind here. Let's just put a stopgap in Shingo Takagi. That's pretty much it.
I mean, it's good that they went with him as a main guy. The problem is how they got there. Uh,
The
that
booking isn't even that convincing. Please.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. He won the belt in a tournament final between him and
Yes.
Okada, an emergency tournament final, because the guy that they wanted to build as the face of the company, the person that they
Surprise, surprise! Surprise, surprise! Suffered a neck injury.
suffered a neck injury. And for those of you who don't know, the face of the company originally was supposed to be, it's a shameful thing, ostrich head. As Oliver Flips, Will Ospreay, was supposed to be the main face of the franchise with the United Empire faction. Essentially, what Gendo was doing, and what sort of spore of madness he was attempting to do in that situation, was essentially recreate what he had done in FMW back in the late 90s with him and Chris Jericho and a bunch of others as
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
the main heel faction in FMW slash War, back in 1996.
Mhm.
So apparently, Mr. Midlife Chris Jericho isn't the only one stuck in 1996. Apparently,
Apparently, yeah. And Ghetto, here's the thing, Ghetto. If you're trying to copy Vince McMahon trying to inject poison into WWE kind of storyline, this is not how you're supposed to do it. First and foremost, by inviting Dick Togo back with his booking record, basically. I mean, I understand that you don't have any other options, but come on, man.
well, here's the funny thing about that situation. It has boiled down to a feud between Gendo and Dick Togo backstage for booking control.
Between Bullet Club and Bullet Club, I am not surprised. Or is it Bullet Club and Chaos? Now I'm lost.
Apparently, it's supposed to be what was the faction? Torture artist or something?
Again,
Some kind of sub.
the new evil thing, right? The new evil faction, right? Correct.
Yeah.
What was it again? Let me just. What was it? What was it? Can't remember. Never mind. We'll just move on.
Uh,
Maybe it will jump.
okay,
House of
so
Torture? Isn't it House of Torture or
House of
something?
Torture. House of Torture, apparently. Guys, WWE main roster has that on lockdown at this point. I mean, and then you also have got the occasional spore of madness from Impact. Uh, but House of Torture. So basically, House of Torture essentially means all the evil segments, all the evil time. We have decided we are going to keep at this whole evil being a heel thing, even though he is completely out of his element, being a Memphis style heel, which apparently is what Togo wants him to do.
Mhm. I mean, the guy's still injured, sir. You don't plan your booking on a guy that's already injured.
Evil's injured?
Oh wait, no, no, no. Evil's not injured.
Mhm.
You can't plan your booking on someone who's still not making any appearances out there.
Mhm.
Jeez.
And what's even funnier about the Ospreay situation is this.
Mhm.
Will Ospreay is going to go wrestle for Major League Wrestling,
Yep,
MLW.
MLW. Yes,
He couldn't have
that's
picked.
correct.
He couldn't have picked a more Carny, worst fit promotion for his style than Major League Wrestling. A promotion that is literally dominated by big heavyweight wrestlers. I mean, they have cruiserweights in there. They're good cruiserweights. They're solid cruiserweights. I know
Yeah.
that they have a tendency to focus on that style over there. Problem is, the people who are over in MLW are not the cruiserweights per se, but the heavyweights. I mean, guys like Jacob Fatu and Alexander Hamilstone, once he's somehow managed to break his way out of the latest King of Fighters game.
Mhm. I mean, I understand. I understand. Uh, Will Ospreay's name is kind of like a, a big acquisition basically for MLW, and it will bring eyeballs to MLW basically.
Mhm.
But you are correct. Uh, Will Ospreay is basically a junior heavyweight in a sea of heavyweights in MLW. Basically, he's going to elevate the cruiserweight division basically 100%. No,
Oh, no, no.
no,
Oh,
no
no.
doubt.
Cord Bauer is going to go completely nuts and is going to put him in the heavyweight division.
Oh no.
Court Power does not want to be out crazied by Gendo, by Jado, by Dick Togo, by whatever the literal heck they are doing down in CMLL. He is going because this is the big weakness. I like MLW. I like the fact that they have Alex Greenfield as one of their writers. I like that they're bringing Lucha Underground back into sort of a canon state with MLW. I like
Mhm.
those things with what they're doing. The
Uh-huh.
problem has always been Court Bauer cannot keep himself from going Carny for more than 5 seconds and doing some kind of public snafu or spectacle that completely stops any kind of momentum that they are doing. And we are in one of those disaster periods where he is getting anxious because of the fact that MLW things are doing well, things are going okay, but then all of a sudden, like a 5-year-old with a snow globe, shake, 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 shake.
Mhm.
They cannot help themselves from doing all of this shaking to rebuild something that did not need a rebuild at that time. This was not
Mhm.
NXT. This did not need to be shaken up as badly as it was. I mean, the positives, I like what they are doing right now with the now renamed Caesar Duran character, formerly Dario Cueto. Um,
Mhm.
But bringing an ostrich head into your promotion when you know full well that you've had a couple of PR snafus already with bringing in highly suspect, highly questionable wrestlers into your roster, that would be Teddy Hart, that we're referring to, as well as a couple
Mhm.
others. Um, the idea of bringing Ospreay in post speaking out
Mhm.
into this promotion is like literally dumping a gallon of gasoline on top of a car and then lighting a match. A car
Unless we
full, a
have
car, and the car is full of money, by the way.
exactly, and unless he, and I don't, and correct me if I'm wrong because you know Ostrich Head more than I do.
hmm
Unless he corrects his own, what was it again? Uh, Corrects his act basically,
hmm
which I highly doubt. I guess
hmm
is I'm not saying that he couldn't. I mean,
hmm
he can. Just that whether he wants to or not, that's another thing altogether.
I mean, he's terrible at PR because most people from East London in that area usually are terrible at PR. I mean, they know is breaking people's legs with cricket bats.
Yep.
Because they come from that criminal culture. I mean, Guy Ritchie films are they're not exactly not inaccurate when it comes to understanding that kind of lower class system culture that is prevalent in working class culture of poverty areas of Britain.
Yep.
And that definitely is the case when it comes to films like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, Osprey does not understand how to do those kind of things,
Mhm.
and he's lied, he's cheated, he's stealed, you know, but not in the Eddie Guerrero fashion, in more in the I have to take everything that isn't nailed down because I know that the tent is about to collapse here on the industry here in 5 seconds, and the paranoia drives them to do things. When you go into desperation mode, you go into complete crazy meltdown.
Yep.
And that's what Osprey did. When he was in Top of Progress, he went completely into meltdown mode. And the people who promoted him at the top realized that about him because if you're going to promote somebody, you're going to promote somebody who is also controllable. It's always about control when it comes to these people, especially in the British promotions.
And for the most part, you'd actually want someone who sticks his nose out of business for the most part, basically.
Well, also
Or
somebody that you have 50,000 pounds of dirt on. And in the
yeah,
case of
yeah,
Ostrich
definitely
Head, finding dirt on him is probably not very difficult.
not as hard.
I mean, you basically would bribe a bartender for a tenner, and he would basically spill the beans on everything that he had done. So, okay, so MLW decides to do this working agreement with New Japan, even though
Yep.
New Japan is also doing a working agreement with AEW,
Hmm.
Awkward Star-Crossed Lovers, obviously.
Kind of awkward, but still
Yeah.
doable. Still doable. Does not.
But basically, they have essentially what they have done is either Togo doesn't like Ospreay and wants to be rid of him by basically cannonball running, shooting him out of a howitzer into the Florida promotion so that they have him, and he gets
Mhm.
eaten alive by heavyweights, so that he can bring somebody in like Alexander Hammerstone and maybe re-gimmick him to be that Russian character from the King of Fighters series, the new ones, the 3D games.
Oh, who was it again? King of Fighters. Dragunov?
Yeah, I think Dragunov. I think it might be that might be his name. I'm not sure. The Russian guy that was supposedly the guy who restarted the King of Fighters tournament in the 3D games.
Okay.
I think it's
I can't remember.
Antonov.
Or I
Yeah.
Antonov? Okay, okay. Antonov or Dragunov, I can't remember. Or
Hmm.
maybe I'm mixing Tekken and King of Fighters one time.
Yeah.
Can't usually, but never mind. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I again, it's going to be a 50-50 move for that one, I guess, for MLW because on one hand they have acquired a big talent in Ospreay. Whether they can keep him, whether they can keep him under their control is another thing altogether.
I mean, they've had good success with luchadors, but that's because they're luchadors, and for once, Court Power seems to be one of the few people who can actually do good business with luchadors without them going to WWE and going, "How much can we bleed the gringo dry this time?"
Not
Because
as if they're not stupid. They're very smart. How much can we milk them out from their money?
how much can we take? How much money can we take from Vince this time? I mean, because there's all these myths and legends about Vince McMahon, but there are a couple of truths. Vince fears the JSA,
Yes.
and Vince constantly gets Monterey screwjobbed by Mexican luchadors. Every single time they bring in a Mexican luchador or any kind of luchador into WWE, not since the 70s have they had a successful lucha person. And I know people are going to say, but Rey Mysterio! He was a WCW guy.
Yes, correct. He's the WCW guy before he was WWE. Okay.
And it took
Before.
ages for Vince to be convinced to actually push him.
Exactly.
Instead of using him as a lawn dart or as a tool to try and get Big Show over for the 979th time.
Or use them as the butt of all jokes. Yada yada yada. We know how the pattern is, but still,
Hmm.
Vince has had failings with dealing business with luchadors.
And now two more of them, Lince Dorado and Grand Metallic, are probably out the door here, given their contract disputes with the company at this moment. Although I'm not sure exactly why they would want to leave WWE at this point, given the fact that, well, CMLL is kind of on fire at the moment.
Kind of on fire. Definitely on fire, basically. And not in a good way.
Mhm.
Not in a good way.
Yeah. So basically, the CMLL, they are apparently still have a deal in place. May or may not have a deal in place with New Japan to do the Fastamalia thing because of the pandemic. We'll
Mhm.
see about that. They've lost most of their high flying talent. Um, Basically because of a power struggle between Sophia Alonso and a couple other people and her uncle,
Uh,
who took over the company, and everybody is now voicing displeasure about this, that, and the other thing. You have people leaving
mhm.
left, right, and center. Although New Japan may get Mystico back for
Maybe, maybe.
once the thing. Uh, so here's the thing: Mystico 2 left the company in a presser conference. Carlistico, which is the former Sin Cara, got back the Mystico gimmick.
Yes, somehow, surprisingly.
So Mystico 1 is now Mystico again.
Olé.
So the
I
possibility
don't
of
know whether
him.
that's an absolute win or just yes, I got my rights back for this character. Now I can use it. Now I can officially use it.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Yes, now I can get I can get into all the brawls in the world.
Using my original name. Ole. Congratulations.
uh, so yeah, uh, MLW is taking a risk on a bag of crushed on a box of crushed fish and chips. CMLL is on fire. They keep losing trios teams. Um, then you also have the It's as if Faith and Ultimo Guerrero are literally feuding with one another. It isn't just enough that Ultimo Guerrero, and this is legit, folks, he got
Mhm.
his car trashed a few years ago due to a union dispute from the Brazos family. uh,
Ah,
yeah. After one of the Brazos passed away in 2015, there was a union labor dispute and fought with the thought that one of the other Brazos sons would take over the wrestling union. No, that didn't end up happening, and then Ultimo Guerrero's Mustang in a parking lot area is literally Street Fighter slash Final Fight style smashed with a baseball bat.
you can't say much about that, sir, but yes. Uh,
The Grand Ballad of Ultimo Guerrero's car. You thought it couldn't get any worse. Oh, but it has.
it got worse.
And apparently Gendo and Dick Togo decided, oh, Ultimo, we can one up you. Which leads us to the thing we've been dreading to talk about at the moment. The this year's G1 Climax tournament, which for your average wrestling smark is the equivalent of torture, or actually is torture, because
Right?
most of the foreign talent is not booked on this show because of the pandemic. So that
Not
leaves
at
them.
all.
So that leaves them with just the talent that's still in Japan, which is few and far between. And the talent that they tried to book on the shows or do a tournament bracket, well, Naito got injured during the
Yes.
tournament, so he's out long term.
He forfeited, basically. Yes, he forfeited.
Yeah. So
He forfeited
Naito,
his remaining. He's
yes,
out.
yes.
No more.
So and instead of drafting in a replacement like people thought that they would, no, he forfeited his wins. So that was unfortunate.
Correct. It was unfortunate. That's a
Um,
that's a big name lost to injury. So there's
mhm.
that.
Kota Ibushi came back from his injury and illness absence, but
Injury,
apparently,
illness. Okay,
yeah,
go
yeah.
on.
Okay,
I'm gonna bring.
okay. So Senju is stepping back for a second to basically start ranting about this okay, because they were so depleted on talent, they decided to bring in one of the Dick Togo's, Gendo's torture club member people, the guy who changes as many stables as he changes his shorts. Yujiro freaking Takahashi was put into the tournament.
Uh-huh.
Now, for those of you unaware, Yujiro Takahashi was Tetsuya Naito's partner in No Limit. And then
Yep.
he basically decided to do the gimmick of being what essentially is a pimp.
Yes.
He is doing a Godfather gimmick and has done a Godfather gimmick since about 2013 or so. It looks like somebody ripped straight out of the Yakuza series of games. And also has decided to start impersonating Takashi Shigura's gimmick by wearing shorts to the ring. Um, he is usually accompanied by girls who look considerably more tougher than he is. The latest of which being the return of Peter, who is a bunny girl.
Yes.
And she has to carry this literal dead weight of affection around by being the most competent member of the team, and she's not even a wrestler, she is a dancer who struts around the ring wearing a bunny mask on her head.
Why? I mean, okay. I'll point. I'll say this. I'll say this for fair facts and whatnot. Kota Ibushi's current standing is still okay in a way. He's leading in the group with Zack Sabre Jr. If I am not correct.
Zack
If
Sabre,
I'm
who
not
has
wrong.
lost his phone for basically an entire year since speaking out happened,
Yeah.
due to his close connection with Marty Scurll, who got caught with a
Oh,
lot of very very questionable
very
stuff, such as having inappropriate affairs with minors.
yes.
Saber
Why?
has not been indicted in anything as far as speaking out yet, but because of his close association due to training with Scurll and being a part of the same British school that has all these allegations against it for inappropriate conduct with minors,
He's keeping mum.
he's
Like
basically
literally.
yes, so it's been basically a running gag at this point of him losing his phone, and now he is stuck in Japan. And if he speaks out, the likelihood of something else happening to him, aka the possibility of him being Seidelled out of Japan, is very likely.
Very likely. But
Mm-hmm.
again, just why?
Why?
A lot of this booking is just
Yeah. We haven't even gotten to the best part yet. In the opening match of the G1 for Kota Ibushi, he faced Yujiro Takahashi.
yes.
Guess what happened in the opening match of that G1 tournament, for those of you who aren't aware, folks? And we're not spoiling anything for you at this point because there really isn't anything to spoil, because the collective groan, screams, and profanity that happened afterwards is eternal. Yujiro Takahashi won a G1 match, which is probably an affront to at least 7 deities, if not more, in the history of the known universe, and he won against Kota Ibushi. It would have been more legitimate for the Battle Fong wearing bunny girl to pin Kota Ibushi in the G1 Climax tournament than freaking Yujiro Takahashi.
Here's the thing, and it's not. It's let's calm down for just a second. Before the match, Everybody was going. Okay, let's go, Kota Ibushi. You're gonna wipe the floor with Yujiro Takahashi. Let's go. We're going to set this G1 straight. We're gonna set this G1 on a high note. Congratulations. 2021 has already been the wildest year in wrestling. Yes, we add this to the pile.
What a dour way to start off your tournament by having the upset win happen on the first day of the tournament. I can understand Yujiro Takahashi picking up a win in the tournament, honestly, okay? I do not understand it if you do it in the opening round of the tournament with Kota in this round robin tournament with Kota Ibushi, who was your newest grand champion for your new shiny belt that everybody is baffled by its mere existence and misses the old IWGP belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like a forlorn child looking through a window of a toy shop at Christmas. uh, it's a situation where, okay, it would have been, like I said, more legitimate for the bunny girl to pin Ibushi and win a match in the tournament. Because normally in the post-match interview segments of New Japan shows,
Mm-hmm.
kayfabe is structurally adhered to.
Yes, correct.
You know, they do their pre-planned speeches, they do their speeches, they talk about the promos, they talk about what's next. But when you get to Yujiro Takahashi and Peter coming through the back to do their press conference interview, the looks on their faces is,
What the fuck just happened?
what the
I don't
Togo?
think even I
Togo?
don't think even Takahashi realized
He
what
looks like
happened.
well, the thing is he's like,
Huh?
I won?
Huh? I
How did
what?
how did I win? I mean, I don't have incriminating photos of Togo yet. I mean, uh, I mean, I didn't have to bribe him with yen or Toro Yano DVDs or sake.
Not to do that.
I won based on some kind of match surprise. You could see how shocked he is at the post-match pressure and how kind of upset he is about it. You know, he's trying to do his promo, but he's like, I didn't want to
I
have,
got.
I didn't want to
I
win.
didn't want to win.
I didn't want to win against Ibushi. I would have been perfectly fine going 0-0. And you could see, and Peter is trying to compose herself and be her gimmick of dancing bunny girl. But
Even she can't control it.
but even because here's the thing about Peter, she's a smark. If you look at her Instagram page, beyond the beauty photos, this is a girl who is a literal hardcore wrestling smark.
And oh my god, did the Twitterverse explode with that?
I mean, every single person just went,
What the fuck?
are you serious? You had Ibushi lose to Takahashi? I mean, Ibushi's a DDT pro wrestler. Him losing to the bunny girl would have been more dignified than losing to Yujiro freaking Takahashi.
I guess so, but it's and I love how the wrestling media tries to spin this as a positive, as like in the very first has begun with a bang. This is this is capping up to be one heck of a ride. Oh, you
And to make matters worse, we mentioned Evil earlier in the program. They had another shocker upset. He won a match as well.
finally.
I think it was against Tanahashi.
I think so. I think so, if I remember correctly. But yeah, he won. Yep.
Which got the same kind of reaction as Yujiro freaking Takahashi beating Kota Ibushi in the opening day of the G1 Climax tournament.
Exactly.
Now,
Like,
if you
what?
haven't been hearing news about the G1, there's a very good reason for it. TV Ashanti apparently has a bone to pick with Twitter accounts who post GIFs and images that are not approved by the New Japan Pro Wrestling official Twitter account, and it started waging war on them by doing DMCA takedowns of their pages. I'm not making this up, folks. This is
I
very
mean,
real.
yes, it is very real. You think Nintendo over here is very strict with their content content restriction and policies and whatnot. Oh no 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 no! When TV Asahi or even TV NHK Japan starts rolling in on DMCA takedowns, ooh boy, you better be prepared for a lot of bad fights.
Some of the most strange, psychotic salaryman lawyers in the known human existence will come upon your very soul and will somehow suspend your account. Uh, and hold on one second, cat just jumped up on the keyboard, but they will come for your very soul. If you're doing any kind of copyrighted content that is not approved by
Mhm.
the registered parties.
Yeah, if they don't approve, they will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
go away, put it away.
Mm-hmm.
This is not allowed. If not, we will send in a legion of salarymen lawyers to your doors. Your channel shall be blown to smithereens.
Mm-hmm.
You will have no place in the Twitterverse.
First, we will send the salarymen.
But
Then
yes,
we will send the sumo ninjas.
yes, there's a reason why I don't really post much in terms of gifts coming from NJPW or any kind of TV shows because I know for a dead fact that if I post something out of line, those men, those people would come on over, send me a DM and go and you need to take this down.
Hello,
You're not
sir.
listening to this one.
Hello, sir or madam. You have violated our Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and we're requesting that you take this piece down, or further legal action will be put upon your soul.
And and I already work in the media. I don't really need my soul to be torn up into a lot of pieces already. So
I mean,
can't
I
say
mean, I
much
mean,
about it.
I mean, those people are super friendly. I mean, you go out with them to have, dinners and stuff like that. But that's, that's
I mean,
out. That's
that's
just
just
off hours. That's just off hours after they've completely removed the spinal column of some young punk doing copyright
Mhm.
infringement on music or something.
Exactly. Yes.
They're still cleaning the viscera from their hands.
And then it's just going, oh no, that was drinks. This is business. And in business, we pull out the katana.
Folks, this is why I respect Senju so much, okay? He may be a joyful, calm, likable individual in this space of the podcasting circles. In his real life, I am certain he is absolutely ruthless.
Hey, if it's about work, then yeah, I have to be. This sans the katana or any kind of sharp weapons. Just don't. Just don't get it. I may be I may be less, but I know a lot of things anyway. So yeah, it's still. Come on.
I,
I'm
you,
not going. I'm not going to complain the fact that yes, I can't do anything about TB Asahi taking a charge like that.
you know, all these British and American Twitter accounts are just like so surprised, horrified, and yelling about this. And I'm like, dudes, have you met Japanese companies? Do you know how
Yep.
territorial they are about their copyrights and intellectual
Yep.
properties?
Yep.
Okay, this is
There's
this is where my experience in understanding Japanese business and Japanese culture comes into a full
a
effect
lot
here. Okay.
of.
I mean, tokusatsu companies are absolutely brutal about their copyright. You know.
Always very very brutal.
Mhm.
Why do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think? What was it again? Godzilla wasn't really made until several years later. They were embarrassed by the 1999 showing. No more using Godzilla as a reference.
Mhm.
Stop. And you know what's surprising? The Western Hollywood media. Stop.
Mhm.
We want to, but we scared.
Toho is literally a giant Godzilla kaiju monster that will stomp you dead in your tracks if you're doing any kind of weird homage to Godzilla. and it's anywhere near their intellectual property. I assume that's
Yes.
the reason why Cloverfield doesn't have a major monster character in their
e-
series.
Exactly, because they don't want it to mimic. It's a
It
kaiju Godzilla. No.
J.J. Abrams is not afraid of many things, but Toho,
It's one
yeah.
of them, I guess.
It's not an artistic choice for the lack of a monster. It's because he's scared of Toho.
It's because he's scared that Toho is gonna
You
take
know,
charge if he does
Toho,
anything out of line. Anything.
it's completely okay for a Japanese company. It's completely okay for a South Korean company. It is not okay for an American company.
Nope. Screw our character. We screw you forever.
And heaven help you if you copyright infringe on any of Tukasabaya's productions characters.
Subaraya characters. Oh
Yes.
no, that's even worse. There's a reason why after what was it again? Ultraman Towards the Future, Ultraman Great. There's no more Americanized Ultraman anymore. That's why you guys are stuck with your American cartoon version of
uh,
Oh wait, this is the USA Canada, USA America. Yeah, we have a lot more. Have you watched Ultraman Trigger? There's a lot more coming out. Wait, you have more?
well,
Why
that's
aren't we
the
doing anything? Because you guys.
well, that's because there's a copyright dispute in Japan over the Ultraman rights between several different
Exactly.
groups.
Yep.
But what I'm referring to more specifically is Science Team Gotcha Man, Speed Racer.
Oh,
That
yep.
company.
There's a lot more. Yes, there's a lot more aside from Ultraman. Yeah.
Mhm.
The I guess the movie Speed Racer um wasn't really that bad. It did actually stick to the whole original material of Speed Racer,
Which
but
is
still it
funny.
wasn't
Which
which
is
is totally
funny.
fine.
Yeah,
Go
which
ahead.
is funny because, like, as I found out, apparently there was a massive auto racing black mist scandal in the 1960s, so Speed Racer is technically based upon semi fictional, semi real stories about corruptness in auto racing in Japan at the time, which was
Yes, exactly.
funded by, guess what? Baseball betting.
Yep, baseball batting back again at its finest. Can't say much about it, but it's there, but it is there. Yeah.
So,
And yes, going back to the whole thing, you think TV Asahi is gonna be scared of a couple of smart marks going, I am outraged that they are taking this kind of action. They don't care. You're watching their product. They put shit on a silver platter and and say that this is gold. You're gonna lap it up.
oh my goodness. I know that from a PR perspective and I know from a, getting your product out there perspective, it's a negative for them, but at the same time, you have to understand you're dealing with Japanese companies.
Number one, first and foremost, you're an outsider going in to see a Japanese product marketed towards uh, marketed towards Japan, to be fair, and not in any other kind of countries, basically. NJPW, whether you like it or not, is first and foremost exclusively for Japan. That's why they have their own streaming sites, NJPW World. And you have to go there to their site to sign up for their program and pay their kind of transaction, not in dollars, in yen. You have to convert.
Yes, you have to convert from yen to bison dollars to American
Hmm.
dollars.
Hmm.
Any kind of currency you can convert over to the glorious yen.
The
Japanese
glorious
yen.
yen Japan, yes.
Hmm.
1万yen kudasai. But but yeah, you can't really complain. You can't really complain when that company that you are actually because they're not nestled in the Western states. They're not nestled in the under the understanding of Western businesses. They're still traditionally rooted in Japanese business.
Mm-hmm.
Cultures are totally different. So
Right
you
now
can
we
complain
have.
about it. You can complain. You can complain. You can voice your dissatisfaction towards it in a way, but again, they have all the right to do it.
Mm,
It's from their stream.
mm.
If they feel that this is going against their terms of services, they will tell you.
And it's funny you mentioned culture clash because that's what's going on right now with New Japan is there's a culture clash. You have Togo wanting to do Michinoku Pro invasion style angles with factions and sub factions and all these matches, obviously ending off in some kind of like season ending cliffhanger or something.
Mhm,
Then you have Gendo, who is still trying to do the perpetual motion clock thing with the axe,
mhm,
and then doing also like we're not sure. I think that what the Togo wanted to do was to have Evil win the IWGP United States
heavyweight?
Heavyweight
Oh,
Championship at the G1 Climax during a tournament match with Evil beating Takahashi and stealing the belt.
hmm.
So
Wait,
yeah,
hold up. So subsequently turning Yujiro Takahashi face?
no, this is Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Oh, Hiroshi Tanahashi.
So
Sorry.
beating Tanahashi in the tournament and Evil taking his belt. I think they did that angle, the taking a belts part, but they wanted to make that win official. That was
They
the
did.
okay, yeah.
I think they did that last year. I think they did that last year.
Mhm. So
Correct me if I'm wrong. So, but
yeah.
I think they did that last year, and trying to repeat that all over again, it's kind of like I understand
Mhm.
that you guys are sticking to the whole credo of if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of booking mentality, but still.
It's broken at this point. I mean, look here, your most credible in that weird sub faction of Bullet Club, the most credible person in that faction is the Bunny Girl. And no, I am not joking. That is literally the most credible person in that faction that Evil sub faction that Evil is not a part of.
Yes. The next guy that you have for that matter, that one has is actually hanging around in Impact,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think he can get back to Japan anytime soon, so he's gonna stick around on Impact until he stinks the place up. Gorillas of Destiny hasn't really done anything substantial as of late.
I yeah, I think they're in the G1 as well.
They are in the G1. It's just that they haven't really done anything.
It's so
Again,
funny. It's like Tamatonga is literally the empty calorie wrestler. You think he's going to do
mm,
something time and time and time and time again. He has the look, he has the presence. You think he's going to do
he has,
something,
yeah,
and
he has everything already in what he's doing, and yet it's either I don't know whether it's either booking is screwing him or probably situations and whatnot is just screwing him, or he's just biding his time or anything. It's just that he has that kind of like ability and potential to take that step to maybe go on a run for the heavyweight belt, either or.
mm-hmm,
And yet he's still hanging around in the in the tag divisions and whatnot, and just doing shit. That's
mm-hmm,
pretty much it.
yeah. So he's in the
And then you
G1.
and then again, yeah, and he's in the U1.
Mm-hmm.
Jay White, your leader, is not there.
Yeah,
Who else?
he's in Impact, and he's also doing New Japan Strong, wrestling.
Promoted wrestling. But as you said, and as we have established, basically, New Japan Strong is basically just a separate being away from NJPW's grubby hands. So there's that.
Shibata is laughing maniacally at this whole situation because he's basically now in yet another big mouth loud situation, except he gets to be the owner because of his, because he can't get back into a ring. So he's just laughing hysterically, going, "Oh, perfect! I get to be the Tojo Yamamoto of San Francisco." And
Hmm.
run the newly rechristened LA JoJo, while Gendo and Dick Togo fight each other over table scraps for the main show.
Yeah.
Because
And then you have like
because what people think of with the WWE main roster, that's happening in New Japan.
and not many people are realizing this. That's the sad part about it. And then you have, and then back to Bullet Club. You have Kenta. Kenta's not really doing anything, even if he's in G1. He's not gonna win anything outright. He's just there to make up for the numbers. And then you have the rest of the pack: Kiku Leo, Evil, Chase Owens, Bad Luck Fale. Evil is still going, but he's going to split off and make his House of Torture. And somehow Sho is joining in the House of Torture, so there's that too. He
uh,
split off from Roppongi 3K.
I, I,
Like,
I, I, I remember. I distinctly remember calling that Sho and Yo were going to break up at some point.
Yet they did.
I
And
knew
Sho
it. I knew
and
that. I
Sho
knew
somehow is joining.
Gendo cannot keep himself from breaking up a junior tag team.
Hmm.
He's like a WWE booker in that regard. Like, great tag team with marketability potential. I want to
Hmm.
break them up and do one of them as a heel.
Which they did. Which they did. Sho beat up Yo, joined up with the Bullet Club, and somehow joined up with House of Torture. So yeah, he's under evil. But aside from that, not many much action has been happening. I mean, sure, they are professionals. They have been putting on quite great to excellent matches at one point in time, at several points in time in the G1. But still, I can't see like guys like Tangalo winning the whole G1 out right now with the table going in.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, I mean, you have guys like Jeff Cobb getting 12 points in B block along with Kazuchika Okada.
oh, Balloon Man is still here.
Balloon Man is still here. Yes, I mean, good on him. Congratulations. He's still there. Congratulations. But it's going to be sooner or later. Okada and Cobb is going to meet, and I'm having a really bad feeling that Okada might win, which is fine in my eyes. But still, that means yeah, Jeff Cobb is going to lose, and that's going to be a shame. A nice, a really really great, a really really talented athlete in Jeff Cobb, not winning the whole thing. But yeah.
First Gendo sticks him in United Empire.
Help. He's gonna yell help.
Then he basically is, he's basically used as a hired gun in one of the AEW angles,
Yep, correct.
for like one show.
And then he's gone.
Then he's
And
gone. He's stuck in New Japan. He likes New Japan. He likes the wrestling style, obviously, but the problem is that he's stuck in United Empire.
the leader is gone.
The leader is gone. He's been shifted to a packing container and sent off to MLW.
Leader is gone. Who else do you got? You got Great Khan. Is he going to be a leader? Is Aaron and
Oh yes, we forgot about Great O'Karn. The Chinese vampire guy.
Yes, exactly. Or are you going to tack your points with Theodore Perkins? Oh, wait a minute. He signed to Impact.
Wait, TJ Perkins is a United Empire.
Yes.
So
TJ
Perkins Restaurant, the most average cruiserweight ever, who cannot keep himself out of trouble for more than 5 seconds on social media. He's a part of United Empire.
Mhm.
This is the most toxic dude bro faction ever, and Jeff Cobb is stuck in it. And Great O'Karn is stuck in this.
I feel like I want to send a life jacket or life support vessel for both of them. Here you go.
I mean, like, here's the
Please.
thing. Here's the thing. We talked about this before when we talked about New Japan on a previous episode. We wanted New Japan to make a new faction.
Not like
Just,
this.
just not like this.
Like, remember how much
The League
flack
of
we were
Nations.
giving?
The League of Nations has more credibility as a faction than United Empire does.
Wait. Ho. I got one better. The global the world elite, the one in Impact Wrestling that Eric Young led, had more credibility.
World Elite was a fantastic faction. I mean,
Exactly.
Aces and Eights has better credibility. You know, Immortal has better credibility than United Empire.
It was like, oh shit. We just sold the leader of the United Empire, and now who are we gonna rely on? You can only have 4 people. The other no, 3 people. If you want to discount TJP, who's now at Impact.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, and some of us say that we are crazy for talking crap about NJPW. The cracks are about to show. It's not really that the cracks are about to show. The show is definitely being run at a really good pace. It's just that the booking, the decisions that they're making.
And I'm not,
Ghetto.
and in my case, I'm not talking trash about New Japan. I'm just pointing out the obvious issues here.
Yeah, and I hate to talk trash about it because yeah, it's one of the best companies that you can watch in you watch Japanese pro wrestling basically, but not the only one. And these guys have issues. It's like Geto Jado somehow stumbled on Vince McMahon's old 90s playbook and say, this is a treasure. We can use this.
Oh no, worse than Vince. Jerry Lawler, 1980s Memphis booking.
Well, I'm not surprised considering the fact that the history of what was it again? Geto and Jado.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the history
They
with
love
it came.
Memphis style. They have
Yes.
always loved Memphis style. They love that American style of booking,
Mhm.
and it drives the national audience of New Japan up a wall. Because what they have mostly right now for their fandom is a lot of ex Noah fans who came to New Japan in the 2010s once the promotion got better, and
Mhm.
they're expecting that kind of King's Road style in that promotion because they started moving away from strong style a bit into King's Road
Yep.
without calling it King's Road, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they don't want to make things too different. You know, people are already
True.
still recovering. Old grandmas in the crowd are still recovering from the thing called Enochiism happening.
Oh. I don't think they. I don't think it's gonna be dying down anyway. So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But
not
when you have in the situation is the opening day of your G1 Climax tournament, you have Kota Ibushi lose to Yujiro freaking Takahashi in the opening round.
when you do that. That doesn't show that you are doing something different or you're doing something wild. It's just you're doing something crazy. Stop. I mean, and I'm not joking. Stop. That kind of style of booking is reserved for Memphis, like Fizz said, Memphis, Tennessee style booking. It's not like we don't like it. It's just that it's already outdated. Still, you see it again and again and again, and the mask of it is basically just we're doing a King's Road kind of thing without telling you that this is a King's Road thing. Yeah, if most of us.
I'm looking at the match results for the first night.
Mhm.
11 minutes and 31 seconds.
Yes.
The Yujiro Takahashi versus Kota Ibushi match went 11 minutes and 31 seconds.
Uh-huh.
And you had Naito, who, by the way, prior to this tournament was hurt.
Yes.
You have him go 27 minutes and 5 seconds with Zack Sabre Jr.
Yep.
What were you thinking? You don't have Naito go that long in a tournament match.
Especially when he's injured.
Yes, injured with a knee injury. And you have him not go against, on the first day, a submission specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to get overconfident with his grappling and is going to accidentally injure your performer. Because he's trying to make it look as realistic as possible.
Exactly.
And that's what ended up happening.
Yep. Oh, let's not forget another kind of unsurprisingly surprised Toru Yano defeating Kenta on the first night.
I mean, obviously, Yano is upset at this moment. I mean, his great devious cheating moment was overshadowed by the fact that Yujiro Takahashi beat Kota Ibushi.
Damn it. I'm going to use this opportunity to sell all my DVDs, but oh shit.
Let's see here. Instead of, for example, okay, for B block, if you're gonna do an upset win, why didn't you have Yoshihashi beat Evil?
It's like this is not okay. We both of us have at points praised Ghetto's booking style at certain points in time, right? This is not your regular Ghetto booking style. This is Ghetto going crazy.
No, this is probably Togo. This is probably Togo interfering with this and running his booking of, like, you know, because normally Gendo, that's where the surprise would happen. He would have the heel lose on night 2 of the first night of B block.
Yes, correct. And
somehow
most of the heel did not.
I mean, if you look at this, okay, it's like Evil won, Cobb won. I have no idea what Sonata's alignment is.
Sonata's still in Los Ingobernables.
Okay, he's still in Los Ingobernables, still drifting along aimlessly. You know, I mean, basically he does the Orange Cassidy gimmick better than Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, and that's actually quite a good praise too, considering the fact that, well, Orange Cassidy's act is actually quite good nowadays. And now that you could you sit me down and let me watch him, he does his job well. Congratulations, but you already have that kind of character, and that's Sanada.
And Sonata does not have to act when he is doing that character.
He is that character.
He makes Shinsuke Nakamura look like the fastest man alive when it comes to his wrestling. You know when Nakamura doesn't care about doing a match?
Yep.
He puts more effort into the matches he doesn't care about than Sonata does in his wrestling.
Exactly. And they say that Sanada is the more professional one than Nakamura. Oh, no, sir. Nakamura, he doesn't give a shit, but he still gives a shit when it's his match. When push comes to shove, he will perform.
And
even though he doesn't like it.
Okay, so night 2 of the B block, you see Taichi defeated Goto. Okay.
Yusuke Taichi defeating Goto. Not surprising. Two veterans. One is a grandpa. The other one is a veteran dad, basically. So almost a grandpa, if you want to go there too.
Okay, Karn defeated Yano.
Not surprising.
That's actually a bit surprising for me. I would have figured that that the Chinese vampire would have been, defeated, by some kind of summoning technique. Although probably because of the fact they couldn't afford to lose any more wrestlers with Nato being injured, that they disapproved Yano's idea of using the what was that technique in Dragon Ball where Master Mutaito sealed away the Demon Piccolo.
I can't remember.
The Matafuba. Matafuba. Yeah.
The Matafuba.
Yano using the Matafuba. Yano using the Matafuba on Khan to seal him away in a rice cooker obviously was not going to be approved.
Definitely. We're
It,
not
it,
gonna
it,
give
I
you
mean,
that kind
seriously,
of
it wouldn't have killed Yano because it's Toro
no.
Yano. Um,
Hmm.
but they couldn't afford to probably lose another wrestler. Um, Kenta somehow beat Yujiro Takahashi. Ibushi beat Ishii.
Yeah. Well, they have to. Well, considering the fact that I think they watched the backlash of it, the kind of like explosion of what happened when Yujiro Takahashi beat Kota Ibushi, they had to. Okay, we're gonna have to say this, I guess. Let Kota Ibushi beat Toei. Let Kota Ibushi have a win. We've tortured him too much. We've tortured him enough with the loss against Yujiro
I'm
Takahashi.
looking at the match results. Care to explain to me what this Master Watto gimmick is?
Oh no, Master Wado. I can't.
Because that
I
sounds
can.
that sounds like something out of like a bootleg Chinese martial arts game.
Mm, it's basically, yep. He's just I.
I think that's a Togo gimmick.
Mm, maybe
It's
because
hard.
let's
It's
see. Let's see because it could have a tie-in because what was it again? He has been trained by NJPW Dojo. That's one. And he did actually he did actually went into the Super Junior Tag Tournament with Kushida finishing second in the Lion Young Cup. So they're trying to push him as a new character.
Mhm.
This is kind of like that one point where what was it again? Tetsuya Naito was in his what was it Stardust Diamond kind of thing, Stardust character.
Oh yeah, the Stardust Genius.
Yeah, the Stardust Genius character, and they're just fitting in characters to
He
the
looks like
wrestlers to
somebody
what
out of Kamen Rider.
with the company that they're running. I am not surprised.
He's wearing a blue jumpsuit and blue hair and looks more ridiculous than Rusuke Takaguchi.
Mhm. He reminds me of a bootleg Glacier.
um, what? Uh,
Yeah, he reminds me of bootleg Glacier with WCW.
how did they find that much Pepsi Blue to dye his hair with?
I don't know. Oh shit! Now that I looked about it now, and we did talk about Tekken and King of Fighters, he looks like a bootleg version of Kazuki. Kid Kazuki.
I,
He looks like
I'm just
he looks.
stunned. I'm just stunned looking at this. I'm just like, I mean, people complain about WWE's ridiculous gimmicks or AEW's ridiculous gimmicks, but
Mhm.
Lord, New Japan is apparently taking the cake. I would have thought that sumo wrestling would have been able to beat New Japan in this contest, but I don't know anymore.
Uh,
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, what the heck?
and they and this is what I had to deal with on an almost regular basis whenever I watch NJPW, trying to explain or trying to find points as to the ridiculous characters that NJPW is churning out. And yet they say that WWE is churning out ridiculous characters.
Uh,
Again.
Night 5,
Mhm.
Okan beat the champion of Night 1, Yujiro Takahashi.
Punishment for ridiculous.
14 minutes and 15 seconds of what I would assume would be pure Chinese vampire torture. No amount of lucky bunny girls are going to save you from that character, Takahashi.
No, no more. Just no more Peter, please. I mean, She's an excellent addition to your roster. It's just that she's going to become more of a distraction for you than you becoming the title.
Also, rabbits and vampires don't mix. I mean, I think in Chinese folklore, rabbits are usually ineffective against vampires. Mm.
Vampires, yes, from what I remember anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, ugh.
Oh lord, Tangaloa is probably very upset with himself.
Mm.
Yano beat him.
Yeah, and he should be.
Congratulations, Loa! You are now officially in an official feud with Toru Yano. You will now spend the next 8 to 12 months feuding with him constantly in a series of jokey gimmick matches. You will wonder where your sanity went off to because you're now feuding with Yano. Yano in the
That's it.
G1 is fine. Yano everywhere else is, well, it's torment.
Yeah. And once you realize that's gonna happen, you're gonna find yourself holding a copy of his DVD in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're left to scratch your head with it, thinking, why did I ever do this?
So, I mean, because of the working relationship that AEW has with New Japan now, the tentative
Mhm.
one, because Moxley is doing all of these matches against Japanese wrestlers, in this sort of mini
Legend
feud.
NJPW Legends, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, some people are speculating that, and this is just me basically spitballing here. What
Hmm.
if Yano ends up being the guy to end up beating Moxley in AEW?
Oh man, that's gonna be a highly amusing and hilarious thing for me. I don't know about the rest though. The rest might explode, and it's gonna be even worse fire for me to eat my popcorn than at that one time when what was it again? Uh, at that one time in Cage Side where we all watched the we all watched the comment section burn down while watching popcorn, seeing who was it that it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse than that.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many times that happened. I mean, the latest time was the Haku being of the women's division, Carmella beating Liv Morgan,
Oh yeah.
who has now apparently become the official mascot of Becky Stan for some reason.
Yeah. Mm, somehow. I don't know why.
Liv Morgan,
Mascot of Becky Stan.
yes. I mean, obviously at this point, since Bex has become her character is just like essentially become a third world dictator to an extent. I mean, she's wearing sunglasses. She's like, I mean, I'm basically like, she's gone full Hollywood.
The Hollywood Becky Lynch. Huh,
Yeah.
not bad of a gimmick, actually, to be fair with you.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not
I
fair of a
mean,
gimmick if you
Hollywood
want to
Bex. I mean, I expect her to suddenly show up with a Jimi Hendrix song, you know. uh, but like,
It's
okay.
actually a good idea changing her theme because she has been sticking with that theme since forever.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then somehow suddenly coming out with a Jimi Hendrix song. Oh, that's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's not bad a character.
Her doing air guitar, I'm not just thinking of just like, okay, weird. Then you have okay, so Kenta beat Ishii.
Okay, Kenta Bidishi, yes, correct.
And then why do they keep having Saber win all these matches?
I don't know, man, but again, we're
do,
falling
do,
on to the fact
Gendo Togo, do you think that this guy is a stand-in for Ospreay? Oh, he's British looking. We will now push him to the top after using him in the mid card and as part of a tag team champion with Taichi.
that or that or let's put Zack Sabre Jr. in a slightly positive light if we want to flip the coin. Maybe this is him punishment this is punishment for him aside from okay, we're gonna take your phone, we're gonna not let you speak, and in return we'll also give you wins.
He beat Ibushi via submission in
Mm-hmm.
1955.
Mm-hmm. He did.
That's
He did.
slightly less torturous than 14 minutes and 15 seconds of Yujiro Takahashi action.
I would have. Okay, agreed. Ibushi and ZSJ is always going to be a great match, regardless of the connotations involved.
Okay, oh, this is classic Togo booking. Taichi gets defeated by Evil by referee stoppage.
Yes.
Sonata
Ring,
still here.
ring a bell. Ring
Beats
a bell. Anyway.
Owens. Cobb beats Goto. Tanahashi beats Tonga, and Okada beats Yoshihashi in a match that went 26 minutes long.
Yep.
Um,
Well,
Night 7 had a special match in the opener.
I know.
Yujiro Takahashi got to be in a match against Bushi, who is somehow still here.
Somehow. Why do they not put you out in greener pastures? I have no idea, sir.
Let's see here. We have Ishii versus Loa.
Mm-hmm.
Saber beat Okaran.
Yep, Saber beat Okan.
I don't make any sense of that. Khan should have been booked a lot stronger in that situation. Have him, literally crush the British guy, you know?
This be true. This be true.
Ibushi beat Yano in 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That he did.
And Kenta took the job to Takagi.
Mm-hmm.
Kanemaru beat somebody in a singles match.
Kanemaru? Yoshinobu Kanemaru?
Yes.
Yoshinobu Kanemaru. I don't think he has. Might be wrong, but yeah, I don't think he has won any
No, he's not a part of the tournament. He beat somebody in the opening match.
opening match.
Ryohei Oiwata, who I think is a young lion.
Oh, one of the young lions. One of the young lions. Yeah, I might have missed that one, but still.
So let's see. Cobb beat Tonga. Evil beat Owens.
Mm.
Who gives 22 minutes and 26 seconds of a match to Yoshihashi and Taichi?
Don't ask me. This booking has been going insane ever since it started.
Okada
Ever
beat
since G1 started.
Okada beat Goto. Tanahashi beat Sonata. That's not surprising. I mean, basically, Tanahashi would have to beat a broom. So, another Kanemaru opener against another young lion. And
Basically, Kanemaru is kind of like the gatekeeper for the young lions by now, so I'm
yeah,
not surprised.
So then we have Yano beats Bushi.
Mhm.
Kenta beat Okan?
Kenta did beat Okan, yes.
Okay, Loa beat. Okay, so they at least think highly enough of Loa to not have him lose to Yujiro Takahashi.
At least in a way. But then again, if they did actually get the balls and go, okay, we're gonna make Tangaloa lose.
Leave it to Ishii to do the right thing and wreck Zack Saber like a bowling ball.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of my favorite matches from the G1 was him facing against Kenny. Like the looming image of Kenny just like being gritting and cackling evilly, and in the background you see Ishii standing there stoically, and there's like this aura of menace.
Like behind him is the looming shadow of Kenny Omega. Gee.
Yeah, behind Kenny Omega is the looming shadow of Tomohiro Ishii, ruiner of tournaments. Ibushi beat Takashi. Okay, they're obviously setting up a feud here between Ibushi and Takagi.
Of course.
Owens beat Tanahashi. Evil beat Tonga. Cobb beat Taichi, so order is restored. Goto beat Hashi. And Sonata had a 29-minute match against Okada. let's see here. Just looking for the let's see here.
Uh,
Saber beat Takahashi via submission in 14 minutes and 15 seconds.
mm-hmm.
Ishii beat Khan. Uh, Ibushi beat Loa. Let's see here. And they did just post the match results for night 12. Okay, this is the match they have all people have on arms and arms. Evil defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Uh,
That was the night 12 B block. Okada beat Taichi. Cobb beat Sonata. Goto beat Owens. And Hashi beat Tonga.
mm-hmm.
That's what we're
And then you
going.
have,
There you have
and
it.
then you have Desperado. So that's one.
It's like 12 nights. We have no idea what's going to happen with the rest of the tournament because right now what we're seeing is Ibushi, Saber, Kenta, Takagi, Okan, Ishii, and Yano are still in play for A block, with Tetsuya and Naito withdrawing, and Yujiro Takahashi somehow has 4 points.
Somehow, somehow. Uh, why, oh, why did they decide on giving him a win? That's why.
And not just an injury win, but a legitimate win.
Yes. A clean finish, 1, 2, 3, even though with a distraction, to be fair, but still a clean 1, 2, 3 win. Like,
Okay, and in B block, Cobb,
Mhm,
Okada, Evil are the 3 that are currently in contention with Hiroshi Tanahashi on the outside, who is,
mhm.
lost to Evil, so he's not in contention at the moment.
Yeah. Mhm.
Sonata, Taichi, Yoshihashi, Goto, Tonga, and Owens. Tonga
Most
and
of them are
Owens,
already eliminated, so yeah,
yeah,
most of them are already
Tonga
eliminated.
and Owens are at 2 points each.
Yep.
With their combined score, they equal Yujiro Takahashi in A block.
All three of these guys are in the same faction, in the same stable, and yet the pimp, the guy with the pimp juice, has more points than Tamatonga and Chase Owens. At least Tangaloa has the same mark point as Ichiro Takahashi. That doesn't really count for anything.
The Gorillas of Destiny are apparently terrible in the G1.
I am not surprised considering their track record.
Okay, what people think of with Roman Reigns, that's actually the case with Tamatonga.
Yes. Mhm.
You know,
And this and look how he turned up in NJPW now.
yeah.
Woo! Ooh boy.
So that is the
That is
situation with New Japan.
mm,
That is the
booking questionable bookings after questionable bookings after questionable bookings after holy shit, what the fuck happened? I can't even explain to you. I can't even give you a prediction as to who's going to go forward or reverse on this one. It's just, jeez. I mean,
it's chaos, folks.
it's
And not
it's
we're not when we're not talking
we're
about
not talking about
stable.
stable. No, this is not stable. It's just pure utter chaos with the booking. The wrestling, at least thankfully, is good. It's just that the booking has been.
Okay, so the wrestling from your perspective has been good, but from what I'm hearing, a lot of people are not happy about the wrestling and they don't see any matches as being match of the year candidates.
Understandable because their aspect of match of the year, believe it or not, involves a lot of the wrestlers who are now inactive because of COVID-19 because they are travel restricted.
Yes.
Most of the talents that NJPW has are from the Western side, and most of the time, these wrestling talents from the Western side of the continent who are under contract with NJPW are usually the ones who are bringing their A game.
Mm-hmm.
And now, because NJPW don't have that kind of ability to actually put guys like John Moxley or Kenny Omega or those kind of people into the foray, now they have to rely on their own homebred, homegrown talent, and or talent. What was it again? Foreign talent that they already have, quote unquote, imprisoned in the NJPW dojo here in Tokyo, Japan.
Which would you rather have if you were to have a person from the G1 appear in a bracket? Chase Owens? Or, and this is going to be a blast from the past,
Uh-huh.
Strongman?
For what again exactly?
Which person would get that spot?
Oh, I'd say okay. Close call on Chase Owens, I guess, because and that's not even saying that it's a positive pick because it's more like two of the lesser evils. Which one do you want to pick?
For those of you who don't know who Strongman is literally a muscular action figure brought to life who was last wrestling in New Japan in 2013.
Eh, mhm. Like I said, it's the lesser of the two evils.
Mm-hmm.
Between between a literal something, a literal hulk, a literal mass of muscle, and someone who can actually put on a show, I'd rather put my bets on someone who rather put on a show. it's that's gonna be the same as me picking a choice between okay, would I would I want to put Yujiro Takahashi or what was it again, that blow up sex doll.
Yoshinko. The
Yeah,
Honorable
yes,
Yoshinko.
yeah.
Okay, let's not disparage Yoshinko with those prior comments. Okay, the kind of
Okay.
person. Okay, this is the kind of wrestler who can get a 5-star match at a Kenny Omega.
Oh, let's not forget we Kota Ibushi too.
Yes, and Kota Ibushi as well.
And Yoshihiko is the blow up sex doll.
Yes.
Fair enough. But yeah, still. Uh
Um,
but yeah,
But again,
generally
as
speaking,
as we as we've said, the dancing valet bunny girl is a more respectable individual to have in the G1 Climax tournament than Yujiro freaking Takahashi winning a legitimate contest without disqualification against Kota
I'm
Ibushi in the first night of the G1 Climax tournament in around 14 minutes.
I am still in utter disbelief. If push comes to shove, G1, please just crown Peter as your G1 champion. Probably face off against the Shingo and then crown her as the first female IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Or heck, just do it as an invasion angle and have CyberCon come in and just destroy Takahashi or every single person who Shingo Takahashi has betrayed beforehand in stables. The line will go all the way from wherever the farthest point the Tokyo Dome is,
Mhm.
where the line starts at the Tokyo Dome, all the way to the ring.
Yep, all the way to the ring. That's number one. Ugh. I mean, I can't even explain to you how crazy the booking has been for a couple of years now. It's just
And it's gotten even crazier now that Togo started interfering in the booking.
exactly. It's like,
It's
hmm,
1990s FMW, 1998 FMW that was trying to be essentially the new generation era while removing the hardcore elements. And
not
and
working for that anymore.
Togo, who is doing the Michinoku Pro angles.
Mhm. It's basically like it feels like two
I'm
people.
I'm half
It
expecting
actually feels like two people booking two different shows in one show.
yeah. I'm half expecting the Brahmin brothers to come out of a barrel and suddenly get into 6-man tag matches.
Jeez, but yeah, in a way,
Yeah.
and yeah. And this mess hasn't even ended yet, and we haven't even started on the mess that was going to be Sumo. Well, not really a big mess; it's just a small problem, basically, rather than a
Speaking of
huge mess.
that, for our viewers, the white notice of the sumo alarm is now active. This is a segment about sumo. Pure chaos, be here. Even though for the last several hours we've been talking about Yujiro Takahashi beating Kojo Ibushi in 14 minutes in a legitimate G1 Climax match on the first night.
Mhm.
What could possibly sumo wrestling do in this entire time frame to possibly outdo Yujiro freaking Takahashi? Oh, I'll tell you what. Hakuho decided to retire.
Yep. Mhm.
Leave it to Hakuho to somehow outdrama the entire Japanese Sumo Association in one fell swoop. He literally belly flopped down upon the Tokyo Dome, upon the masses, and said, "Well, I'm Coach Magaki now."
Yep, exactly. I want to be like Coach Magaki, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember what his speech.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, he is going to be staying in the Sumo Association under very heavy restrictions to be a sumo coach in the JSA. Leave
Mhm.
it to the JSA to somehow outdo both Gendo, Jado, and Togo all at the same time with that one move and the other moves around it.
Mhm.
Uh, Tenro Fuji won the September tournament, winning his first match at Yokozuna, and leave it to Hakuho because days after Tenro Fuji's win, like less than 24 hours later,
Mhm.
several major Japanese papers break the story that Hakuho is retiring.
Yep.
Yeah. So the story is that Hakuho had re-injured his right knee, and one of his attendants had caught Corona-chan. And so his entire stable was out of the September tournament. Hakuho himself
Mhm.
was not affected again, even though he was affected by the Corona-chan thing last year.
Mhm.
But it was revealed during that time that he basically had decided to retire after the September tournament.
Yeah, I think it was after the 10th. I think after his 10th win, he already said that he told his stable master and the others in his stable that he was retiring after the meet, if I remember correctly
Yes.
from what he
So
was saying. So,
this was not due to any kind of viral issues or anything like that. This was a
oh no,
situation where he was basically committed to retiring after
no.
the September tournament. He wanted Tennofuji to get that tournament win as Yokozuna, hoped for it, but at the same time, Hakuho literally steals Tennofuji's thunder, which means that the rest of the Bakunochi division is literally screwed because Tennofuji is going to be angry because he wants to portray himself as a different kind of Yokozuna to Hakuho and is going to crush every single person in the next tournament.
Dear God, help us all.
Okay, that is not a prediction, that is not a spoiler, that is a thing that is likely going to happen barring injury.
Mhm.
We are going to see thousands of flying endos flying across the Kokugikan like purple seat cushions,
Like I
crashing
said,
into the wall.
yeah, like I said, dear God, help us all. Bring all your Mikos out, bring all your shrine maidens out, pray to your nearest temples, toss your coins into the donation boxes, pray for good luck, or, well, get some really terrible luck, I guess, if you want to go there too. Even though it's not in the new year, you best be wishing for good luck because Terunofuji is angry. He's going to be very angry, and all of the wrestling division is food to him.
He got
Yeah.
upstaged by Hakuho a day after his tournament win. He is going to destroy everyone.
Yep.
Okay,
Gonna nom nom in his way.
Tenryo Fuji is fueled by spite and rage
And hunger.
and
He's gonna
hunger.
nom nom his way through
Mm-hmm.
the wrestling division. He angry and they food.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
with the exception of
Of
Ichinojo because they're going to tag team, obviously.
course. Unless they clash, into which
In which
Ichinojo is
Ichinojo
gonna.
will politely go push, shove, push.
Well,
Ichinojo then
it.
gets calmly pushed back across the
Mm-hmm,
ring rope. He
mm-hmm.
bows. He walks over to the concession stand. He eats the concession stand to make himself feel better. And he goes on his regular diet of eating pagoas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is correct. Yeah.
And
And
then,
somehow, and then somehow Hakuho saying, I feel I could leave the rest to him. I had two surgeries in about half a year. And the doctor told me everything has been done and it will be an artificial next time I hurt my right knee. I feel like I can leave the rest to him. It's kind of like a middle finger to Terunofuji saying, good luck. It's yours.
you're stuck being at the top of Yokozuna level for the JSA. In which we
Congratulations.
and when we were in the pre-show before we did the show, I basically said to Senju, this is all because of the butterfly effect of Chairman Akaku missing the Doyo purification ceremony in Nagoya because he somehow missed a train.
And let's put this into a simple context. That was a joke. We meant it as a joke. We never meant to. We never meant to see this turn into something so serious like Hakuho retiring. At this stage of point, I am not surprised that Chairman Hakaku is gonna lay the sole blame onto his shoulder, and then suddenly in one day going, "I retire because I let Hakuho retire, all because I missed the train."
Okay. So, as
I'm
we
not, and I'm not joking, and I'm not joking on that either because let's be serious. The retirement of Hakuho is going to leave a massive void for the JSA for about a couple of years, I guess.
I mean, of course it is, but they needed to do a full-scale rebuild, so why not have Hakuho? I know Hakuho is a major draw. I mean, people wanted to see him lose, to be frank. To a certain
Mhm.
extent, there is people wanted to see him lose. So, okay, uh, you have, you know, um, let's see here.
I mean,
I mean, this is the thing.
the
The
okay, go ahead.
thing, the thing with Hakuho was is that he'd already caused issues with the JSA because of his appearance at the Olympics.
That's
Uh,
number one.
yeah.
Generally speaking, at the end, basically at the tail end of his career, basically the JSA was what was it again?
Mm,
Kind of like a little bit of Hakuho because what was it again? Number one, it's because of his rough wrestling style, and somehow, but most of the part, it's because of his personality at that point in time, which they feel he is kind of like self-righteous in a way. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
but but that's what a champion is supposed to be. He has to be kind of like self-aware that I am that damn good. So and again, let's not point the finger that yeah, JSA is an archaic
Mm-hmm.
centuries old organization that firmly believes in tradition where uh, as you grow older you are more senior,
Uh,
and to them Hakuho being self-righteous is kind of like a
mm-hmm.
Takanohana 2.0,
I
only a
mean,
little bit
let's
less.
let's also be clear here. This is not due to anything involving Hakuho being Mongolian or anything like that.
No,
Get
no, no,
that,
no,
get
no,
that,
not
get that, get folks, get that nonsense out of your head right now because this is all due to Takanohana's nonsense that he did when he was
hmm
a stable master in the JSA.
hmm exactly.
Uh
Because they don't want JSA didn't want a repeat of the Takanohana thing, because if Takanohana was bad, Hakuho turning his back on JSA would be worse.
mhm. Hakuho turning it into a political show was going to be an absolute chaos moment of chaos sumo. Um,
Especially even though he has Japanese nationality, he can say that, especially because he's not originally from Japan.
mhm.
That's going to be a huge issue. That's gonna be a huge landslide if JSA kind of like stands their ground and say you can't do this, you can't do that, yeah, so on and so forth. It's not going to be a bad Takanohana clone. It's going to be a worse precedent, not just for the JSA as a whole, but for well, Japanese sports culture as a whole. So
Oh, and
they're trying to
speaking,
sidestep that in a way. So,
yeah, and speaking of Japanese citizenship, Ichino Joe now has Japanese citizenship.
of course,
I
now
mean,
he can now he can officially om nom nom it his way into the taco stands, food concession stalls
hmm
without any fear. But all jokes aside, of course. Because what was it again? I'll bring it to a more serious note on this point, basically. Because what was it again? There's a lack of promising young sumo wrestlers to carry the sport, basically. Because JSA has firmly laid their marbles down on Hakuho's back. And now Hakuho is gone because he retired. Now they're going to place those marbles on Terunofuji. They've kind of forgotten that Terunofuji is already a 29-year-old veteran. Because in this recent tournament, the Ozeki ranks were not even in contention for the championship. None of the wrestlers in the top three ranks recorded double-digit win totals, except for Haku, of course. But they're
like,
about.
okay, so the situation is that Tenro Fuji gained double-digit scores.
Mhm,
Shodai finished, I think, with like 9-7,
mhm,
somewhere in that area. The sad
mhm,
dumpling Takakeisho, who was in danger of losing his Ozeki rank, somehow
mhm,
managed to string together 8 wins.
mhm,
With all of the force of sad dumpling power that he could muster.
mhm,
Um, Takayatsu had to pull out because of injury.
mhm,
Horshoyu had, I think, tonsillitis. I think it was. He had to pull out for a couple days as well.
mhm. Maybe,
Uh,
yeah.
uh, so basically, Tenro Fuji's biggest obstacle in the tournament, and this is going to be a laugh and a half for
Mhm,
people,
mhm, mhm.
was perennial sumo mid carder Myogiryu.
And he's not joking.
No, no, seriously, Myogiryu.
Yeah, and he's not joking. Because let's be real here. At a point when Hakuho was what was it again? Active as a yokozuna, he was a constant obstacle to young up and coming wrestlers basically.
Mhm.
Terunofuji, now in the top echelon, is only being feeding scraps or is going to be fed scraps. There's no one capable enough of going to outstage Terunofuji in that kind of mindset. Like I said, he be angry, everybody else is food. That's it.
I mean, it's a situation of like meeting a black cloaked Hiromu Takahashi in a dark alley.
Oh no.
It's like
Dude,
it's like you're dealing with Teruo Fuji. He's going to be angry. He's going to be upset, and he is going to destroy everybody in that sumo ring come the November Basho.
mhm.
And that is not a prediction, and that is not a spoiler. As I said, that is what is going to happen.
Because like I said, there's a lack of promising young wrestlers basically.
Well, there are
I mean
promising.
I mean you guys I
There are
mean maybe go ahead, sorry.
there are promising wrestlers, obviously, but there's
But
inconsistency amongst them, and I think there's also a lack of confidence from
uh-huh.
the sumo wrestling equivalent of the sumo Dave Meltzers of the world. And that is a sentence that has caused the entire world to literally become Pangea again.
Okay. How did you combine sumo and Dave Meltzer?
I mean, Dave does know his a thing or two about sumo. He does occasionally mention it. I think
Yeah, okay.
he does also keep clear of it with a 50-foot pole because he's well aware of sumo wrestling's ability to what is it what is the thing that they're most known for? Oh yes, causing page after page after page of year in sumo Wikipedia articles to be filled with nothing but sumo related scandals. And some
Mhm.
sumo websites actually have a number of days since last sumo scandal listed on their website.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, but yeah, that isn't everybody know. Everybody in the sumo circle basically knows that. What was it? Um, Sumo and scandals are not far off. And if you think wrestling and scandals are bad enough, sumo and wrestling embroiling in scandal is far worse. There's a reason why we always joke around, but we always say that in seriousness, Vince McMahon is scared of the GSA.
Pro wrestling and MMA are nothing compared to the madness that sumo can cause on a monthly basis. It doesn't even
Mhm.
have to be in season for sumo wrestling to somehow cause something to happen, whether it be a wrestler facing off against the dump truck crashing into the back of his car or during a trip to a tournament.
Mhm.
Or a wrestler betting on baseball games, or a wrestler getting into a fight with another wrestler at a karaoke bar.
Oh yes. Can't say much about it, but that is what happened. Yeah, it is what it is. And like I said, again, now as what was it again? Hakuho retires and picks up the name. What was it? Miyagi, I think.
Makaki, I think, is the elder stopper.
Makagi?
Yeah.
Okay. The elder Makagi, basically.
Hmm.
Now the JSA is kind of like wishing that Hakuho, the former Hakuho now, is going to train the younger generation to go forward into sumo. Basically, Hakuho is going to train these guys to be fed to Terunofuji.
If
That is an image.
if Tenro Fuji lasts that long, mind you.
Yeah, yeah, true. But that was kind of like he can't solve the problems that the Sumo Association has already been put because now I the only hope I can kind of see is that what was it again? Uh, Hopefully that they kind of like realize this and then they go, okay, we need to do something because he did actually said when sumo comes to an end, it will also be the end of this country. So, and that's actually quite true.
I just had the most evil thought imaginable.
Hmm.
Yokozuna Shodai.
This, why?
I mean, if we're going to go into full sumo chaos mode, what if Shodai gets on form in November and wins that tournament, and then wins the January year show? Because it's clear that the sad dumpling probably isn't going to reach Yokozuna at this point, given the number of injuries he has. As much as his effort, as much as he tries with his effort and his sad dumpling fighting spirit,
Hmm.
the likelihood of the next Yokozuna after Tenro Fuji is going to be somebody who is on the Kakuryu level, and somebody who is close on the Kakuryu level is Shodai.
True. Because you did say that what was it again? You're seeing him. You're seeing more and more of that kind of image in Shodai. A lot more.
Yeah, the second Yokozuna. The Captain Irrelevant, the hi, I'm here, I'm going to be sad right now. I mean, because, like, it's a contest. It's like the two saddest sumo wrestlers are also the Ozekis.
Hmm.
And we're not joking.
No, we're not. This is that's definitely it. I mean, I always say that in sumo that there's a there's always and you are right, Fizz. There's a ton of potential names that can jump up from the lower division to the upper division now that the uh, top ranks has been pushed wide open. Basically, there are empty positions for them to pick up. But with the amount of inconsistencies, it's just okay. It's kind of like a okay, who's gonna go up, who's gonna go down now, and then at the next basho, okay, who's gonna go up, who's gonna go down now? Kind of like a seesaw of okay inconsistencies. One person who's consistent in this previous basho is gonna be inconsistent in the other basho. or gonna have a string of bad luck doing injuries or, God forbid, scandals coming up. So there's that.
Yeah. And then of course the fact is that you're gonna have some re-debuts in the top division. Um, I think Sho Hosen might be getting back in Division One,
Okay.
and he's the oldest guy in the division.
Well, how old is he again? Or
Uh,
30 something, I think, or is it?
I think he's
Or is
30.
he?
I think he's 37.
Okay.
We'll double check
That's
that obviously, but
yeah,
um,
it's interesting. So yeah,
let's see.
it's definitely going to be something interesting. So there's that.
Mhm.
But again, I'm not. I'm not going to bash up on sumo a lot, is because again, there's potential coming up. There's tons of potential. There's openings, potentials, opportunities for young talent, or more up and coming talent to push themselves up. It's just that okay. All they need to do is just be, what was it? Um, a lot more consistent in the performance. Basically, they need to find that sense of consistency again and again and again and again. So,
I just remembered also someone else is coming up back to Division One.
oh,
Word light. This is basic Abenomics.
oh no, Abi. Okay, hi, Abi. Yeah, okay, understandable. Yes.
So Abi is returning to
Mhm,
Division One. Um,
mhm.
looking through the list of individuals who, yeah, okay. So Shohazan was in Juryo 4 rank. Let's see, where is his rank right now? Oh, they haven't listed the Banzuke rankings yet, but he has a 10-5 record, and that is close enough in the Juryo division to get him back up to Makanochi.
Okay.
And his age, yes, he is 37, almost 38.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so Abi returning, which is obviously going to be chaos.
Definitely.
Shohazan returning to the top division, which is going to be chaos.
Hmm.
Tenro Fuji is going to literally eat everybody else alive.
Definitely chaos.
The true eater of worlds, Ichino Joe, is going to feel gimmick infringement, but he's not going to feel too bad. He just got Japanese citizenship after all, so now he can eat. He can eat, historical Japanese historical monuments.
Without worry.
Yeah, without worry.
Again. Well, less chaos, but still chaos.
All because Chairman Hakaku missed a ring purification ceremony that he absolutely had to attend in Nagoya.
And I even ask, I'm very sure both Ghetto, Jado, and Dick Togo isn't booking this run, right? No? Correct? You're
Yeah.
still stuck up in NJPW, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, still. Ooh, you had one job, Chairman. You had one job.
So
God.
somehow, during this 2-hour broadcast, New Japan Pro Wrestling managed to somehow outshine and outdo sumo wrestling, which should tell you
Hmm.
the state of the wrestling that's in New Japan right now. That you managed to outdo the crazy of sumo. At least for now, until some other scandal breaks, and everybody's list of days since the last sumo scandal signs has to be reset to 0 again.
Hmm. And somehow the world of wrestling in the Western Division is just, well, peachy. I'm glad it is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, things right now in Western wrestling are going okay. There is obviously some issues. The main roster's on fire, but that's typical to be expected.
Hmm.
And AEW is bringing matches like, I mean, part of the reason why we did the show was because, well, at this time slot that usually Senju would be doing his old show, Shooting the Breeze, is because, he had some real life things to deal with. And I had to get over the excitement of Punk Garcia, Punk Garcia, Punk Garcia, Punk Garcia.
You have no idea how long. You have no idea how much he was going.
Oh, it's very rare for me to get that excited about a match, but it's like, it's
I
like
mean,
when it was announced, I was like, I gotta tell
I mean,
mom.
yeah, because I know you and your mother are both fans of Daniel Garcia. That one I know. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we went to the last when we went to the last indie show we went to in 2019, specifically because Garcia and Kate Carny were booked on the card.
Yep.
We hadn't
Hmm.
seen those two in a while, so we went, oh, we'll drive down to Salamanca. Absolutely no problem, We got to eat tax-free reservation fries.
Nice.
It's nice.
That's nice. I mean, oh, okay. But yeah.
And,
Uh,
and as somebody who is, part Native American, it was really fun. It was nice. It was pleasant. Beast almost
mhm,
turned into
mhm.
a riot again. Um, I wanted to see Brandon's home promotion. And this is the story that I've said
Okay.
before. And, I wanted to see Brandon Thurston's home promotion. And ESW is running a show this Sunday. They've been
Mhm,
taking it very easy with the pandemic so far because New York
mhm,
State, and this is the joy and the benefit of the red tape of New York State.
mhm.
Wrestlers can basically in this state say to people, "Look, it's New York. There is a
Mhm.
ton of red tape here. I'm not going to be available for booking right now. I will be available for booking down the line. So you can do other projects." And Thurston was the pandemic MVP of 2020 with WrestleNomics Radio. Um,
Mhm.
and WrestleNomics in general, with all of the work that he has done over the last year plus, being able to do something that he is legitimately enjoys. He recently
Mhm.
did an interview with former founder of WrestleNomics, who is currently the in a position of the EVP of AEW, and Chris Harrington, Mookie Aganya.
Oh yeah.
And they recently did an interview prior to the Rochester show for AEW,
Mhm.
for WrestleNomics Radio, in the First and Terrace. For a for what I'm dubbing the WrestleNomics Economics Christmas special.
Oh, okay.
Christmas being a terminology for it's basically a terminology for whenever WWE or whenever one of the other wrestling companies releases financial reports or does any kind of financial stuff, it is referred to as Christmas because the content that you get from these shows is like getting a bunch of Christmas presents at Christmas.
Mhm.
You know?
Because for those of them who are very interested in the numbers game, basically this is basically the go-to of it all. And
Yeah.
yeah, and this is usually where both of us actually get more interested into the whole thing. Because sure, a lot of people, a lot of the hearsay go and yeah, AEW is performing well or not, but what does the numbers actually tell you?
hmm
That's what's more important in our eyes, basically. So
Yeah, I mean, the numbers tell us, and the numbers don't lie. For a guy
mhm.
who's now booked as Braun Baker, that the average median age of NXT viewers is apparently 62.
Exactly.
uh, but yeah, next go around, we are either going to be doing NXT or AEW, and we'll go into
Mhm.
more detail about what they're doing over at this side of the pond. Maybe getting into more into CMLL's madness, because I need to compilate a list of the number of luchadors that have left the promotion.
Oh,
And
okay.
AAA is extremely confused right now because they're normally the tire fire promotion of Mexican Lucha Libre.
Uh,
And for some reason, they've become the competent ones.
and from what I gather, they're even shocked. Wait a minute, we're supposed to be the screw up ones. Why are we the ones?
We have Conan as Booker again. How are we doing this?
Exactly. How? I need explanation.
So, yeah, anyway, folks, we have entered the warring state of Togo for episode
Yep.
71 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. We have had an absolutely fun time. Senju, where can they find you?
Now you can find me at Twitter at Mr. Dr. Senju. That's MRDR Senju. And that's pretty much it. Right now, I'm chilling off a little bit from podcasting duties. This is actually my first podcasting duty that I jumped back in. I plan to take kind of a little bit of a break for my own podcast, I guess, until I can figure out what I want to really do with it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'll be jumping in over here as semi-permanent commentator for the foreseeable amount of time until we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Mhm.
you're gonna listen to this crazy little voice over here for whenever it's gonna happen. So
Mhm. And
pretty much it.
you know, once again, to note to folks here, Senju isn't going to be on every Wacky World. This is not like Series 1 of Wacky World where Sal wanted to be on every show. This is a
Mm,
situation where Senju wants to do shows, and if he wants to go do a show, he will do it, you know?
well,
And, you know, but it's his decision, you know?
mhm,
And it was the same way with my former co-host Sal, but he wanted to do more shows, he wanted to do this, that, and the other thing, and then it led to creative disagreements, you know, when things over on Cage side just started going insane.
mhm.
But again, that's, you know, that's the domino effect of what happens in the world of wrestling. The world of wrestling media is just as chaotic as the world of professional wrestling itself, as we are, you know, we were demonstrating here with pro wrestling. You know, some people are going to be like Dick Togo, some people are going to be like Jado and Gendo. They're going to have different creative opinions and differences. But anyway, folks, you can find me on Twitter at William Fitzpatrick at int Fizzpatrick14. That's Fizzpatrick 14. I am still somewhat of a regular over on Cage Side. I'm getting back into things. I had a very busy last couple of months with home repairs, landscaping, getting over my two right back in 19 shots. But I plan on doing some more shows in the month of October, depending on how things go. Knock on wood. And, you know, we'll see where things go from here because I don't think Senju is going to be the only person who's going to be joining me on one of these adventures in the world, in the wacky world of professional wrestling.
Oh yeah,
We might see a certain appearance from an ex ECW mutant depending on how his schedule is. But
depending.
yeah, depending on how his schedule is, because I definitely want to hear his thoughts on Garcia and the Team Taz angle. Good.
Considering that he hasn't been around for quite some time, I believe he's going to be really pumped up to tell. So yeah.
Oh, yes, you know. Um, but anyway, this has been William Fitzpatrick. That was Mr. Dr. Senju. This is episode 71 of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Enter the warring state of Togo. You have a good day or night, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you for the next edition of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling, whenever that will be. Once again, the schedule is not permanently set in stone at this point, but whenever it happens, it will happen, and we'll go from there. Episode 71 is in the books. Have a good day or night, and we'll see you next time. Bye.